So how much should you actually charge as a online fitness coach? Let's say you're a qualified personal trainer and you're thinking about starting an online coaching business and you want to sell online coaching, but you're not really sure how to price it or how to package it up. Well, in this video, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to give you some very clear steps to deciding on your pricing and also some really important things to consider if you're brand new to the online coaching space. I'm Alex Povey. I've been working with personal trainers since 2018 to help them with generating more leads, signing more clients, and essentially impacting more people through their coaching. And so I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different trainers over the years, and I've helped a lot of people build online fitness businesses in both the UK, Canada, and America, parts of Europe. So I've got a lot of data to draw upon, and I'm going to be sharing that with you inside of this video. So the first thing to really figure out is the model, because there's lots of different ways of making money online and on the internet, selling fitness solutions or health solutions, right? And we'll get into that in just 1 second, but the way to think about it is this. Imagine you're flying from London to New York, okay? Now you can fly in economy, you can fly in business, and you can fly in first class. Now all of them get you from London to New York, but they're very different experiences, right? And the same is true of selling online services or products, is they can be packaged up differently and they include different things, and so they have different values. And that's what we're going to be diving deeper into inside this video. Now I want to be super clear, right? Is in this video, we're not going to be talking about virtual personal training. That's not the focus of this video. Virtual personal training being jumping on a Zoom session with a client and walking them through a workout. That's not what this is going to be about. This is about a different type of product and service, whether that's one-to-one coaching, group coaching, or selling info products and lower ticket items, with actually a big focus on what I imagine a lot of you are here to learn about is pricing up your main online coaching and one-to-one offer. Now our pricing, it should reflect really what we're giving, right? And what the client is receiving. It should reflect the value, it should reflect the access, and it also should reflect the transformation or result that they're going to get to. The next thing to consider when deciding on pricing is your experience level, right? Someone who has been a trainer for 20 years has a little bit more experience that they could then build into the pricing. That's a factor to take into consideration. Now, before we get into some numbers and pricing, another thing that factors into what you're able to achieve is also how you position the actual offer itself. Now, you can position it in two ways. You could say to someone that they get access to an app and custom workouts and 24/7 access, which is very feature-based, and then you commoditize yourself, or you can position it in a way where you're speaking about a specific result that you're going to get them. On the other hand, if you focus on results and positioning the results of what you do, then you're much more likely to get people signing up and saying yes and paying you the money that you're worth. And so focusing on the results would sound more like, I'm going to help you lose 5 to 10 kilos of body fat in the next 90 days and help you rebuild your confidence. Very different, right? One's features, one's outcome-based. The outcome-based offer is naturally going to get people more excited, more willing to part with their money to achieve that outcome. Just like if we go back to flying from London to New York, we don't really care about how the plane is made, right? What bolts are used, what paint is used, what the seats are made of. We care, is it going to get me from London to New York? Because I want to be in New York, I want to see the amazing shops, I want to go to Central Park, I want the outcome. Does that make sense? Now, if you did want any help with actually putting this all together and maybe getting help with other parts of your business when it comes to getting clients, onboarding those clients, and making sure you're delivering a high quality service, then click the link somewhere in the description of this video, fill out a short application, and that'll put you in touch with me. Now, a little trap that people fall into is coming up with different offers and pricing and products, and too many of them too soon, okay? And it creates a lot of confusion, not only for the trainer or coach, but also for the customer. And so I heard something a long time ago that really stuck with me. If you confuse them, you lose them. And if you confuse yourself, you're going to lose yourself, right? And you're going to get overwhelmed. So what we want to do, and this is what I found works best, is really keep it super simple, especially when you're just starting out. So let's take one-to-one coaching as an example, okay? Now, the best way I've seen to set it up and the best way I've found for people to sell it and get people to sign up is having an initial program, okay? And that could be 90 days or maybe a little bit more. Anything less is a little bit too short. So an initial window of time that you're selling, let's say it's 90 days, and then a reoccurring offer on the back end, like a monthly ongoing offer where someone pays you by the month. So you've essentially got just two products, but you're only really pitching one on the front end, which is the 90-day program. Okay, this is the full bells and whistles program, everything included. And you could sell this in a couple of ways. You could sell it just on a month-by-month basis for those first 90 days, or you could sell it for a one-time fee. And you could incentivize people to pay the fee up front instead of paying for it over 3 months, because that's better for you, so you can make it better for them. But we'll talk about the pricing of that in a second in terms of what that could look like, okay? But essentially then you've only got two offers. One you're presenting on the front end and one someone's signing up to on the back end once they've finished the 90 days. Now, you could, if you really wanted to, have two offers on the front ends, but anything more than that, I think it's going to create a little bit too much confusion and the need for people to think about it because you're giving them too much choice. So try and keep it as simple as possible. So let's talk about a pricing guide. How much should you actually charge for online coaching and these online solutions? So these price guides are based on being in the UK or America. Obviously, going to be very different if you're in different parts of the world with different economies, okay, and different currencies. So I just want to touch on the virtual personal training element so we don't get confused here. The virtual personal training element is going to be you showing up on Zoom where you're giving someone a session, right? Or you're walking them through a session. You're going to be charging an hourly rate. You're going to price that probably similar to what you're charging for personal training in person, if not a little bit less, because in my opinion, it's inferior, okay? But when it comes to actually selling online coaching, where they're actually getting not just sessions with you, but they're getting check-ins, a plan. They're getting specific advice maybe around habits, behaviors, even nutritional advice and support. And that is a more holistic approach. And for something like that, I would price it very differently. So as a beginner, if you take my advice of having that front end offer and then that back end reoccurring offer, you could be selling a 90-day program for 500 to 750 quid would be a reasonable amount. And what I see our clients charging for their initial 90-day offer. And like I said, you could incentivize people to pay in full, 500 to 750 quid up front, or you could break it down into monthly payments and charge a little bit more if you wanted to. Now, when it comes to the reoccurring offer on the back end, what we see based on the data is as a beginner, people can comfortably charge and receive around 150 to 200 pounds per month for online coaching. And it's going to be pretty similar if in the US, right? 150 bucks to 200 bucks a month on an ongoing basis. And what we found is if you're pricing yourself at 150 to 200, it's a very sustainable figure for most people. And so they'll often pay that for 6, 9, 12, 18, even 24 months like I did when I worked with my own fitness coach, because it's a reasonable price point for a very high quality service that you're receiving. Now, if you're setting up, let's say, a group coaching program, which you'd probably do a bit later down the line once you're very established and you've got more demands, then you could essentially charge similar or a little bit less, depending on kind of your authority, your results, etc. But generally speaking, group coaching is going to be a step down from that one-to-one bespoke access to you. And then you could be selling lower ticket products as well, which is actually a really hard way to make money online as a online fitness coach unless you've got tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers. But for those lower ticket products where you're selling ebooks and guides and things of that nature, you're probably looking at about 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds. Or if you've got hundreds of thousands of followers and you're super influential, then maybe you could make half decent money if you're selling a lower ticket membership for £10 a month or £15 a month. But generally speaking, most people listening to this are probably not going to be influencers. And if you're working with 300, 400, 500, maybe 1,000 followers, then the one-to-one coaching model is going to make most sense based on where you're at, where you can deliver a bespoke service and still make a really good living making 5, 10, 15, 20K a month online. So people often ask me, like, when do I raise my prices? I know we've spoke about being a beginner and just starting out, but when do you actually raise them? Now, I would look at raising them based on 4 different factors: demands, your confidence, your results, and really your capacity as well. I guess you got to think of pricing a bit like strength training. When you first start out, you're not going to be particularly strong, right? But as you start going and getting the reps and doing the workouts, you break down the muscle, you rebuild it, it gets stronger, and then you're able to lift more. And it's the same with pricing, right? Over time, it should gradually increase until you find your sweet spot, essentially. Now, the cool thing about pricing is if you actually increase it just marginally. Let's just say you're charging at the bottom end $150 a month, and you decide to increase it by just £50, okay? And let's just do it on the basis of 5 clients. So if 5 clients are paying you 150 quid, then that's going to be 750 quid a month. But if you increase it by £50, that's all of a sudden across 5 clients going to be £1,000 a month, right? Which means over the course of a year, that's an extra £3,000 without doing any more work, just by increasing it by 50 quid a month across 5 clients. Now imagine you've got 40 clients. That's a significant uplift in your annual earnings just by increasing your price point very marginally. So to recap, obviously think about the model of online coaching that you're going to be delivering, or the online service that you're going to be offering. Charge based on what are they receiving, the transformation, the results, the access to you. Build a really simple structure, 1 to 2 products, 3 max, and then review your pricing as you grow and you build your experience. And if you want help figuring all this stuff out and maybe even getting clients for your online coaching business, then click the link in the description. There's going to be a short application to fill out, and that'll put you in touch with me.